It's
Oh,
up right now.
we're jumping right. Oh my gosh! Thank God, we're in. We're in. Okay, right off the bat though, Coach C's banning out the Boxia. Mook's banning out the chip. No more tanky boys for the first phase. But thank God we are in the draft. Oh my
You know, you
God.
reminded me of the meme about the White House guy.
The white.
Let me in. Let me
Let
in.
me in.
Finally.
Dude, yeah, yeah, it's an exciting matchup, and
It
I do want to
is.
watch it. I
It
don't want to just like
definitely
drag this
is.
along with like two short kings podcast all the way. We have to watch the game.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna go into the game, ladies and gents. It's really crazy, by the way, because this is gonna be a first ban for Boxia. Boxia is rising up in terms of popularity. There you go. Even Zaze identifies how powerful it is, and it's a self ban. Technically speaking, we usually see Boxia on this side of the this side of the first pick because of how flexible
Mm.
he is.
So second ban. They're still thinking about it. I think definitely Kalea, Juicin should be prioritized. Or even like now that the boxer is gone, I don't think they need to worry about Xborg. I don't think it'll be picked up because people pick up the Xborg just to counter Boxia.
Yeah, but there's also right now, even like we don't need to talk about the Baxia anymore. Sorry, the Xborg anymore. But because the counter is already gone. But I still feel that Xborg also provides that flexibility as well, right? You
Mm.
can put him into the EXP lane. You can also put him in the jungle. Hades has also brought it before. So I think right now, I always like Team Flash as if they're on the red side. I always like Team Flash when they're on the red side because this show us a lot of ways how creative they are in terms of drafting. And in fact, for the side of Team Flash, their red side win rate I expect a little bit high. Yes, red side win rate is 5 times.
Five times.
So out of the
12
53%
games that they
win
played.
rate, out of the 12 games they played, they are red side 5 times and they won 5 times.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay, so 100% on the second pick. But this time around, first pick, we're still waiting on the confirmation of the second ban for both sides. Second, third ban for both sides. But,
Hmm.
you know, I think Artillery Mage is definitely high on the prio list.
Yep.
You don't want to give Juicin over the hands of Roy. Neither do you want to give Zask. I know RSG likes to play that zonal
Yep.
control. And how Flash would mitigate that? Maybe banning out the Harith or picking it up for themselves in first pick. But Vanix does like to play the Moskov. I remember him
Yep.
playing like one of his top picks is that Moskov. It's
Actually,
easy to play, easy to execute, especially for side lane pressure. It alleviates a lot of the stresses off of your opponent lane.
yep. Especially for the side of RSG, right? You expect the Moskov, the Chip, and the Moskov, Chip, and Fanny. These three are your usual bans. If you notice, against Team Flash, these are the top three bans that people usually ban against them. But of course, don't forget, like what I mentioned, Team Flash has a very wide hero pool, especially when it comes to Hades, especially come to Kurtizi, Martis mid lane.
Marty's mid lane, always on the tables.
Could also be on the table.
Fanny mid lane.
Fanny mid lane would never be on the table.
I wish. Maybe Joy mid lane.
Joy mid lane, never be on the table.
Possible though.
Nah, I don't think it will work.
Oh, I know, I know.
What do you want?
Gusion mid.
Gusion mid. Ah, that works.
That works.
That works.
That
You've
works.
got range. You got range
his
clear.
MO.
You got range clear. Yep, that works. That works.
Range
He
clear.
pulled it before. He did it before.
He did before one time. I remember.
Yeah, last season.
Mm.
Yeah, where it's like a Wild West when it comes to Team Flash. But of course, really super excited about Ken. And this is something that for the side of RSG, they also need to focus on the focus on the bands, right? Remember what I mentioned. Usually, when you meet Team Flash, you usually look at three bands: the Fanny, the Moskov, the Chip.
Fanny Moskov
But
chip.
they've already
Yes.
removed the chip, which means that there's also a potential leak of the Phobias as well. And going in first pick,
Ooh.
I feel like Team Flash may pick and secure the Phobias for Ken right off the bat before it goes over
That's
to
why
the
they
side
banned
of
out the
RSG.
Baksha.
Correct.
Give Ken a winning lane.
Yep.
So an easy lane to win in.
An easier lane. And of course, it
That
eliminates
means-
the flex picks.
Closer might be picking up the CC just to counteract the phobias.
And that also could
So
work.
pretty textbook picks.
Yeah, but I always see CC as a very weak EXP laner because
single
for
target
CC,
clear.
single target clear, unfortunately. Secondly, your burst damage come into a 1v1 situations, but usually you don't want to be a 1v1 situation, right? CC wants to come in at the flank, then after that start 1v1ing a single target and then just jump out, right? Because of mobility. Um, and not only just that, right? CC as a hero doesn't serve an impact during team fights.
I think it serves a lot of impact,
I-
especially for dashy heroes. When you put
Glue.
the curtain call, it just splits it up a little bit. But you said glue.
Glue, Khalid's,
Yeah.
high loss.
Mm.
These AXP laners feels like they have a bigger impact as compared to CC. So if your whole idea is to pick a CC to counteract against AXP, I think it's a little bit too short-sighted. I'm never a big fan of CC. Sorry, all the CC mains out there.
I actually like CC a lot because it has the momentum. It brings the early game rotation coming in. A lot of like the pepper spray kind of zone potential from the yo-yos themselves. So I do like the CC. Facing up against the Phoveus, I do prefer the CC up against the Phoveus. Especially in the early game because
Yeah,
it brings
it's an
that.
early game, right?
Yeah, it's all about the early game. So we're back in the draft. So you're getting banned out by Coach Z's, and finally, hopefully, there is no other issues, and we can get into the game proper.
Yep. Okay. Suyo ban is very interesting. Something that Yon has been playing for quite some time. In fact, Yon has been playing Suyo quite a number of times. In fact, 3 times out of these 3 times, there's a 6% win rate. Wins twice. So that's something that you can definitely ban. I feel like Team Flash, looking at how they're going for, right, they may potentially ban like even the high boosters, right? We're gonna starve out Yon in terms of his assassin picks because they know that Hades has a bigger and wider hero pool.
Or the assassins, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a Lucas banned out.
Okay, interesting.
Definitely for sure. Targeted onto Hades. You don't want to deal with the jungle Lucas.
Yep, interesting. Okay, so Amux identified that we're not going to go for your chip, Fanny, Moscow ban. So which means that they have to pick one. Now, if Amux is going along this kind of thought process that, hey, I'm not going to focus on these 3 heroes, he might be also looking at a Phoveus
ban.
last ban. Which means that Flash is given the Fanny and also the Moscow. Now, I think if that's the case, Team Flash can always pivot over to a first pick Moscow because the Vanix is just way too good on this Moscow.
Yeah, and Moscow is sort of like a soft counter for the Fanny.
For the Fanny as
It's
well.
not really a soft counter. It's like you can protect yourself against a Fanny
You can
because of
heal.
knockback.
Yeah.
So the Moscow is being banned out right there. That
Interesting.
means they might want to go for the Fanny. So this is definitely going to be a Fanny or a Phoveus ban. I do agree with you with the Phoveus ban because you do not want to risk the Ken Phoveus or Phoveus Ken.
It feels like if Team Flash goes for this ban, there's gonna be actually a self ban. I prefer definitely you leak the Moscow up. Now RSG, I think they can just ban, like what you mentioned, ban away the Phoveus. Then RSG can definitely deal with the Fanny because there's always a Badang going out. And even if Flash didn't pick up a Fanny here in this first pick, Yon can also use the Fanny as well. So you can see the implications of the Moscow being banned out by Team Flash.
Yon does have options though. Like
Definitely.
maybe even a Ling or a Joy would be good for him. I think Flash wants to force it in with the high booster. So there's going to be a Phoveus being banned out right there.
Now I'm interested in the first pick from coming out Coach Z's.
Man, Juicin, Granger,
Kimi.
just give us very easy lane pressure. Kimi as well would work.
There's a lot of things
Fanny.
open. Yeah, so Team Flash really have to be smart about this, right? This first pick is going to dictate how RSG is going to play, how Amux is going to pick for his team. And right now, from this first pick, you can tell Team Flash has a very hard decision to make, personally. Who do I prioritize? Do I prioritize Vanix? Or do I prioritize Ken? Or do I prioritize something that you don't want to give over to RSG? And that's the problem when it comes to first pick. RSG definitely is, in my opinion, is in a better spot right now. Now, Team Flash is going to throw everything out the window, going to give Kalia over to JPL, and now all of a sudden RSG has a way to counter against Vanix, counter against Hades as well with a Fanny pick.
Typically, teams will pick Gatut just as sort of like a soft counter or a one-to-one matchup against the Kalia. Jay might be able to pick that up right here alongside the Kimi for Roy because he plays it really well. But then Matilda's still open though, so you could play Matilda.
So you give a lot of things. There you go. RSG
Fanny Badang.
Protecting both the Fanny and the Badang as well. But I've seen this before, right?
Protecting.
Like no, like
protect the president. It was coined by Amux. He was casting with us and was like, yeah, it's just to protect the president's strat. And like, that's where we got it from.
Now, going to this, I've seen how Team Flash deal with the Fanny before, right? Yeah. Now, they need something like a very strong side lanes that can basically counteract against a Fanny. Moscow is one of them. You don't, as a Fanny, you don't really go and try to kill a Moscow.
You don't really have the Moscow anymore. It's banned out. So
oh, sorry, Moscow is already banned out. So maybe other marksmen that are more immune. Like I would even throw a Brody out there.
Brody.
Because of the second skill stun. to be able to throw the Fanny off guard. It's a point-and-click stun for you to peel. But apart from that, Team Flash is going to hold that decision for just a little bit longer. They're going to hide Vanix even more. And now they're going to go for a Hayabusa and a Farsa. Nice response coming off from Amox. The Valentina to take away the Farsa's ultimate. And that's also what Roy likes to play. Roy also plays the Farsa.
Valentina and Parsa. Valentina. So Valentina is definitely going to pick up the Feather Airstrike from Farsa. So
Definitely.
you're matching up the artillery strike.
Mhm,
Cook Mooks bans out the glue.
Ooh, okay.
So that means definitely going to be targeting onto the EXP side. Right now, Phobius is not picked up as well because it's banned out.
Yep.
Both teams need the EXP lane. And you're limiting the EXP pool. And this meta, it's very tricky because there's not a lot of heroes that you can play in the EXP side.
Not only just the EXP lane. I was streaming yesterday, and I think some of the people were talking to me saying that, hey, you know, the gold lane is getting boring. Both sides are actually opening up a lot more gold laners. Don't forget the Harith is also wide open for both these two teams
actually,
to take. But
no teams are
RSG is
taking
going to get out of this. You can give it over to CS as well. CS may snap pick that away from the side of Vanix. So I'm actually interested what Vanix will go for.
Yeah. So RSG is going to be the first pick after the ban.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-1 is going to be banned out. It's an homage to... I think Vanix was one of the only ones who play it. I think CS plays it one time as well.
Hold on, let me check.
But it provides a lot of... it kind of speaks to me like, okay...
Yeah,
so,
CS played the 1-1 once, twice.
Right. So Coach Z's actually wants to draft the Hylos Harith over the Flash. I think it's the best case scenario. Then the Farsa kind of acts like a pseudo Eve, providing that sort of like zonal control in that space, as you would in RWM. So it works kind of best with for them. You have a lot of shields from the Harith to just mitigate the damage from the Fanny. But the Hilda gets banned out from the side of RSG.
Literally targeting down all the
EXP
laners. But apart from that, they can also, if they right now, RSG, after getting out of this banning phase, they can also definitely target one of these, right? One of Vanix. Either they want to target on Vanix or target onto Kent. Because right now, high loss is definitely looking really good for RSG as well. Because high loss can basically allow you to lay down the green carpet glorious pathway, allows you to run out the Feather Airstrike, or even go on in closer to get to Kurt TZ as the Sparsa.
What will it be though? Definitely Harith should be taken out. Or even a Granger, though. Gatot, yeah. So I was talking about like the Gatot versus Kalea matchup. And then you provide... I mean, it's safer for Kurtizi to lay down your Feather Airstrike because you don't have anyone jumping on you to disrupt that. The only one that can possibly do it right now is Yon's Fanny. But it's more of like a kill rather than a stun up and lock out.
Okay, I like this one. I like if RSG seems like they're going to target mostly on Ken. If I'm Coach Amux right now, I go for the pick on Hylos, right? Secure that drafts. Now you both, not only just the fact that you have your own Feather Airstrike to basically cover for your own. No, they're going to go for the Joyhead instead. Okay, this is really interesting because I feel like Amos may be overthinking it because Flash can also potentially bring Kalia all the way to the EXP lane as well, right?
Fair.
And then JPL can counteract that with a Joyhead to counteract counteract the Valentina's Feather Airstrike as well. I think this is a big brain coming up from Amos right here.
Jawhead roam. And then you disrupt the jungle farm from Team Flash, so Hades doesn't have a good jungle clear anymore.
So JPL needs something to be able to respond to this Jawhead's pressure. What comes into your mind? Apart from the fact that Kalia also does it well, the Cho also potentially does it well as well. You bring the Kalia all the way into the EXP lane, going up against the Badang, where you can basically brawl as much as you love.
I think Hylos and Harith definitely works the best here. Hylos also provides a single target stun when Fanny flies over. You just stun that and you try to clear it out with any of the teams. And there's going to be the Harith and the Hylos being picked up for Flash. RSG, last pick, it's going to be the Marksman. Best case scenario, Earthal, Granger is open. Maybe you want to go for the Kimmy, but you have too much magic damage. And Kimmy doesn't really do too well in the gold lane. The only reason why it does well in the mid lane is that you have the range to mitigate the splash damage from your opposing mid lane. But in the gold lane, it's totally different because you really rely and bank on your attack speed. So what will it be though?
I think Kimmy is actually decent. But of course, I think they definitely need, like what you mentioned, I think they need more physical
Bruno,
attack.
it's the Bruno.
Irithel, Bruno, technically speaking, almost similar in terms of build order, and almost similar in terms of their gold, because their items are so similar. Bruno pops up even faster because you can stack your critical earlier to bully the Harif out of lane. So I think what we're looking at is outside the RSG, they need to play around the gold laner to bully this Harif out as soon as possible. But this is a Vanix Harif.
Dude,
The clutch master, the Lord Vanix that we're talking about.
we're back to the M5, right? Like Harris versus Bruno in the gold lane to lane matchup. This is
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really M5 back in the days.
Mhm,
But you
mhm.
know, hey, draft this set. I do like Flash's draft a little bit better because they have more zone control. They have one person to send out to the side lanes as well. But I wouldn't count RSG
Yep.
out because they are cooking something with the
There's a-
Jawhead. Haven't seen it in a while. It's
Yep.
used in the Philippine server for the longest of times. We've seen it in MPL PH as well. The Jawhead being brought to life right here as we jump into Land of Dawn. Flash on the blue and RSG on the red. It's a clean slate. It's a fresh start for both sides.
Yeah, definitely, right? RSG and Flash SG both need at this point. Whoever that loses this goes into the second place, you are not safe. You are on shaky grounds. You want to be on firm ground. You don't want to be on sand. And it all starts with this particular game.
You have a Jawhead in your possession. Most of the time, you have the hard aggression. You have the leash, heavy leash. So Jawhead basically starts off with the opposite side of the buff, and then when Fanny's done, Fanny swoops over, secures the buff, and then moves on your way. Provides a lot of speed to this jungle farm.
Yep.
But a lot of hits back and forth on the top side, mid side of the map. JPL forced to retreat.
Yep, don't forget Courtesy on that. Ooh, this is something interesting that you don't usually see. A
It's
Hylos
proxy.
that's cutting waves.
Yeah, I think he can tank up a lot of the hits, and Closer is being very. I wouldn't say it's intimidation or fear. It's like more respect. You don't want to have too deep of a push in onto just one high loss because he can heal everything just back up with the revitalize. As no, he's got a flicker right now. So
That's interesting, right? You usually see a Hylos revitalize, right?
on the EXP side,
On the
especially
ESP,
so.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to out-sustain using your Glorious Pathway and also revitalize. Boom! Basically, everybody rushes down to alongside with you in the Glorious Pathway. So Ken is going for the flicker. Pretty interesting. I think the main goal for Ken is to basically rush down, stun Roy. But here we go.
Bottom side can take a lot of damage. Here comes Yon though. Has that flicker out of the way. Hades used the shadow to dash right back in, but not enough to take Yon down. Turtle will spawn up in 10 seconds. Jay in position, locked in and ready in the mid side of the map.
Yeah, good discipline coming out from the side of Hades, right? Not using the shadow kill, saving it up for the next turtle fight. But Closer burning away the flicker. He won't have that flicker engaged, but hold on.
Oh, nice flicker throw onto Hades. Forced to use that shadow to get out of the way. It's a 2v3. Gets stunned up, locked up. That's underneath the side of the wall. Here comes Cortese. He's level 4. He does have further airstrike. Jay take a lot of damage. His first blood going into the hands of Cortese.
Man, Courtesy has been going around reaping heads. He's one of the first few players that with really an enormous high first blood count. Based on what I've been researching so far in terms of stats, but it's a really good call coming from Courtesy, and that's what we call Courtesy and Hades are terrible duos. You don't want to face up with them because they know what to do. Hades is down for the count. They need to delay the turtle. What Courtesy does, guns in, secures a kill.
I do have to say though, the cascading effect was Jay using the flicker to throw Hades away, forcing him the shadow out and resetting that turtle. So Flash in a better position contest for this one. Closer is the only one in the vicinity. Yon trying to get close to the turtle, getting stopped by the Glorious Pathway. Ken on the backside. On the mid side though, Roy taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of damage. Yon takes out Ken in the process. Jay with a shadow kill. Hades will take him out in the process. It's a 1-2 trade as Flash SG secures the turtle for themselves. Cortese will be able to hit Roy. One more hit, he goes down as well.
And not only just that, Vanix and CS, they're just literally duking it out, but CS is already stacking up the damage. But you take a look at Churros, but hold on a second, Yon is in the vicinity. Vanix looking a little bit scared, but nice for him to basically play underneath the turret for now. But let's talk about the turtle fight, right? It was a little bit messy fight. It was almost equal, right? The if you Flash taking the turtle, but RSG taking 2 members. Flash SG was able to pay back against RSG, take revenge against RSG by taking away 1 member. Had Courtesy not secured that kill, that turtle would be so wasted.
Yeah, what a play for Cortese. His positioning is on point, immaculate in this game so far. I wouldn't call it dominant performance, Flash SG still 1k gold ahead of RSG. But in the end of the day though, Flash SG does have the upper hand in that high ground advantage. So RSG has a huge hurdle to cross. They really need that early game. Jay, not a very good start, 0-2-2 at this point. But like I said, very sacrificial roams at this point, Jay.
A bit of a slower pace right now. Both these two teams agreeing that, okay, you know what, gotta chill a little bit. that's not. It's still in a sense of stalemate. Closer buying that item, the throw disable thing. A little bit of
actually.
mistrust on the J. Hello, we got that on screen.
Does it actually show up though? From the
Yeah, it did.
From the
At
item
the
buy.
bottom. Yeah, it did. It did at the bottom. Did you not see it just now? Do you want me to? Can we get a replay of that?
We should get a replay of that one.
That trust issues though.
Oh, top side though, top side. Vannix in a spot of bother. Yawn is right there in the vicinity. Pop the Zaman Force just to keep himself safe as the turtle spawning up in 5 seconds. Flash SG are already in position. Closer trying to be on reconnaissance duty, trying to find out more information, get more intelligence onto where Flash SG is at all times. Turtle getting started out. That's a half, a third, a quarter. Hades will snap pick that one up.
Yep, definitely a free turtle over to the other side, but it seems like JPL.
Nice little tsunami slam into the better airstrike. JPL takes out Jay.
Yeah, immediately, right? Assassination. That's the power of Kalia, right? Especially when you draft them together alongside with a Farsa. A Farsa, you want to bring in some people right in. In fact, that combo also works along with the Juicin, right? So
Woo.
JPL in a good position right now. Flash SG is able to secure 2 turtles right now. They're still slightly ahead, but it's not over just yet. They're waiting for CS to basically pick up the item buff and also the items required to be able to become the mid-game monster, and that's why we notice how Flash SG focuses all the attention up top, pushing CS away.
There's a 5-minute modus operandi. Jay in a spot of bother once again. Glorious pathway. No tsunami slam this time around. Get caught out on backside. Closer finds a flank onto Cortese. Better airstrike to keep everyone else at bay. Here comes the ball. The bouncing ball by CS in the nick of time to disperse the team fight. RSG still lives to fight another day.
It's so crazy that even after Closer uses the flicker to try to lock people down, members of Team Flash are still able to survive it. Don't forget, there's no revitalize on their side, right? It's all JPL's holding on the flicker, and look at how many people from the side Closer was able to catch. So this is really a little bit sketchy coming from RSG. RSG definitely shows that, you know, you need more time to basically pick up the necessary items to do the damage.
Things are slowing down. Next turtle spawning up in 30 seconds. Ken and Closer mirroring each other as it's a 4-1. Look at where Hades and Yawn is, just settling that side lanes. Oh, 1v1 onto Yawn though. No more shadows. Latch onto Yawn, able to cable himself out.
That luckily, that's once again discipline coming out from Hades, right? Usually, if you see other players when they do that, you see the shadow kill
Straight shadow kill.
Straight shadow kill. But it's all about the turtle timers. Like what I said, if you want to take a look at the macro, if you want to learn macro, you learn what Flash SG does.
Saving it for a busy Sunday. It's RSG slowly but surely Yawn taking control of that bottom side. There's no way in heck that Flash SG is going to be able to maintain that glorious pathway already laid out. Red carpet comes through. Vannix holding on to the Zaman Force. Now half. Jay pops in, throws back into the fray. CS picks up the kill onto JPL. Hades with the turn on the back line. Vannix dancing, bobbing, weaving. He's getting the triple onto Yawn, onto CS, onto Jay. That's a maniac. Totally missed that part. Lord Vannix here to stay, here to play again.
Man, this is crazy, right? Let's take a look at the replay for that particular engagement. Beautiful laying down by the side of Ken, but this is a mistake coming off from RSG. The
blocked by their own wall.
Blocked by their own wall. Cortese as well on the fact he's basically very safe, right? The feather airstrike right behind the wall of Closer. And that's a mistake coming off RSG. They really need to target down. When you see a Farsa, you need to disable the feather airstrike, but Cortese was able to land the feather airstrike 4 times.
Oh man, what a play. That's going to be a huge, huge advantage for Vannix, especially now seeping into the mid-game, 8-4. Now the score line is pretty much, it's not really important as of now, but the goal advantage over the Flash SG, especially with 3 turtles to the name, seeping into 4,000. That's quite a bit.
Yep.
The only saving grace for RSG is that they're busy pushing down the bottom side turrets, and Yawn is the only one not in the picture. There's a tsunami slam into the walls. Closer take a lot of damage for us to get that retreat, but a feather airstrike takes him down before he can. Jay next to follow up. There's a big red cross behind his back. That's a Zaman Force. Pops the conceal, and the rest disperse. At the bottom side, though, Yawn busy taking on the T2 at the bottom.
Yeah, Yawn is basically doing exactly what RSG can only do right now, right? Unstoppable force.
Someone needs to retreat. If not, Yawn is going to be taking down that T3.
Yeah, I saw the unstoppable force by Jay. I think that was a bit of a premature right now, but there you go. RSG forcing Flash to basically respond to that bottom lane turret. But if you notice, Yawn is basically keeping Flash SG busy, right? Now they need to be a little bit pay a lot more attention to the side lane so that it doesn't get taken down. Glorious pathway being lane like that. Flash SG really likes to overkill their things.
Yes, the kill zone right there. There's a better airstrike onto the back line. Roy is taking too much damage. No one is able to touch Roy, though, in the back line. Taking the shadow kill. That's 12 hits. Down 4 members to go. And RSG just falling apart at this moment.
Man, Vanix and also Curtizi made it look so easy to play this game, even though you've got Jay on the jawhead, even you got Roy that can basically steal, you got Badang as well that can push it over. Just once again, look at the position coming off Curtizi. Curtizi burns away the Purify as well, but you notice the wall, especially at this particular choke point, but the rest of the members are hidden behind the Badang wall. The rest of RSG cannot step forward, and now you start to question. This is exactly like a Grok wall problem, right?
Yeah.
It could do well against you or for you, and it's all about that coin flip. It's all about that EXP lane.
It's so tough, especially for closer. Right now, you are down 7 kills and almost 10,000 gold. This is the 8,000 gold lead that Flash SG has, pushing in all 3 lanes. You might be able to take down that T2 bottom, clearing out all of the turrets on the outskirts of their base. Right now, Vanix has spot a bother right there. Yawn able to cable out just in nick of time, but Vanix is just too hard hitting.
You see Vanix just one hit with the second skill, and then after that, that's like, what, 1/4 of Yawn's HP down. Imagine if Yawn get caught in the Zalan 4 hits, and he's down. Right? For the side of RSG right now, I think they need to switch their strategy a little bit. They need to really try to go for their pick composition. Don't handshake into these crazy team fights, especially when they're already almost 10k goal lead behind. Better airstrike for the siege, and RSG is struggling to defend Churros.
Mort pushing in. Flash SG just needs to take down the T3s, bottom side, top side.
Yawn.
The boom's already gone. They're just waiting slowly, patiently, very, very disciplined. Closer wants to find an angle onto Vanix, but this man is just too hard to take down. 7-0-1 for this Harith.
Dominating showing coming off the Flash. Right now, you can see Yawn's the only best thing that he can do right now is just basically play base Fanny, right? Go back to the base, regen, clear, and then go back to base to regen the energy all the time. Because Flash, this is a very dominating showing, right? There's nobody from the side of RSG can really touch Flash at all.
Yeah, I think that zone control that the Feather Airstrike provides, especially Curtizi playing this game so immaculately, the way that he positions himself in the mix of all of it, he tries to lure everyone out, but his target was actually CS. If Bruno's not in the picture, they don't have enough damage to take anyone out.
Yeah, and looking at how the game really crumbles, right?
Yeah.
Actually, both Harith and Bruno share the same item power spikes, but once you start seeing Vanix go in for the Maniac,
yeah,
at such early point, it's over.
Yeah, I think that was a double almost Maniac.
Triple, 1 Maniac, 1 triple.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit too much. That choke point was good enough for Vanix because once he pops that Zeman Force, he used that first skill, everyone's bursted down, and everyone's disintegrated.
And not only just that, the high loss as well, the Glorious Pathway actually slows your retreat.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit premature, and like you said, they just wasting their resources right there. But it doesn't matter because they want to fight at that choke point.
Yes.
Waiting for the Glorious Pathway to end. They don't know where the rest of Team Flash is. They go in all gung-ho, all ham, and throwing all the resources onto one high loss that causes this cascade of sequence of events that causes Flash to just win out all these team fights again and again and again.
If you notice how Team Flash is not really afraid, even not only just for this game, Churros, like the past few games that you saw from inside Team Flash, what they like to do, they really like to throw utilities like it's free. Like their cooldowns is like 1 second cooldown.
Yeah.
Like even though the ultimate is like 50-second, they're like throw it out, just throw it down.
Yeah.
Just to catch one person. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Right, but most, especially against RSG, most of them are good, right? Because RSG, they were able to trade 1 kill, or at the very least for the side of the for the Lord Pit, and then after that they trade for a kill or something, or an objective or something.
Yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, like a lot of the times where Team Flash was able to, or losing out on the team fights, it was all dissipated because of that rock wall. And I think the Badang that was picked up uses the rock wall to Team Flash's advantage instead of their own. But man, you know, this is going to be a tough matchup, especially now with a technical pause. A lot of teams have some time to reset and rethink their strategy.
Yeah.
We do want them to have equilibrium.
Yeah, but then again, RSG, do they need this break? Because if you look at RSG...
Just look to the, honestly though, just look to the next game. That's what I'm saying.
But at the very least, okay, I think... there's also the Valentina. I feel like Roy wasn't able to use that Valentina to its greatest extent.
Yep.
Like I was hoping to see, you know, Valentina to take the Feather Airstrike from Curtizi, and then after that just use the Feather Airstrike again, use the own medicine against Team Flash. Haven't seen that happen yet. We'll always see it's either the Glorious Pathway being taken, it's either the Kalia Tsunami Slam taken. So I think the Valentina's positioning, not just the positioning, the decision making to take which ultimate could be better.
I think it's not which ultimate to take. It's the Valentina knows, or Roy knows which ultimate to take. It's just Curtisi is nowhere to be found. It's so hard to get the ultimate because of the range that you have to get close to Curtisi to be able to get with. But then again, I think at the end of the day, it's all about that zone control. It's all about the way that Team Flash likes to layer it in, likes to bait out a lot of these crucial resources that enabled them to win all these team fights, empowered them to win all these team fights. And then here comes Vanix with the with so much damage right from the get go, and him just doing Vanix things, man.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about like the clutch factor. Like what I mentioned, you put CS and also Vanix in a room. Which one do you trust in a bar fight?
In real life or in game?
In game.
I would say still Vanix. He's a big beefy boy.
Yeah, but
he'd protect me in a bar fight. He'd protect.
He also attack as well.
He also attack.
He is the Lord Vanix.
He is.
I feel like that could be an
He
easy
is.
tagline on this.
So
niche,
Lord Vanix versus Mega Minion CS.
Vanix.
Mega CS.
Actually,
but
Lord
CS
Vanix.
means creep steal.
Yes.
Steal.
Or creep score.
Creep score. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where we're going with this.
But to be honest, I'm not liking I'm not liking RSG's odds right now. In fact, there's a lot of things that is really going against them. The mid lane's already cracked open. There's also the fact that RSG is also down 10k gold lead. They don't really have the damage yet. CS doesn't have enough damage. Not only just the fact that he doesn't have enough damage, he doesn't have enough he doesn't have AoE damage, mind you, because Vanix could just go in any small choke points and just burst everybody alongside with Curtisi. There's
Just
way
with the first
too much.
skill.
Correct. I think what could also be done as well, they need Athena shields. They need some form of magic resist to protect themselves from the bursts coming out from the likes of your Farsa, the likes of your Harith as well.
But then again, you have to deal with the Hayabusa, and this is something more difficult to handle because he's always going straight for that back line. So jumping back into the game, is there any hope for RSG as this game still progresses? 10k gold behind, 7 kills deficit for RSG.
We just need to have to wait for a perfect closer ultimate. Right now, these walls have been acting against RSG. There needs to be one, just one, because Team Flash has been here before. Team Flash was basically turned around because of one closer wall, one Badang wall, and I don't really want to see it happening again. And Team Flash knows it.
Here we go, the shadow kill on the back line. Roy goes down, so does CS. Huge kills by Hades. On the bottom side, though, Jay taking a lot of damage. Immortality popped up. Vanix waiting for Jay to come back in so he can take him down with the concealed play. Able to jive out of there. JPL will pop his immortality as well, but RSG, the odds are not looking in their favor, though. JPL able to kite out away from Yawn, though. Jay taking a little bit too much damage. Vanix has that legendary title to his name with his aim and force underneath that underneath the base. Minions popping in. They might be able to go for the throne.
Okay, good fitting airstrike though from the side of Curtisi to try to wave clear as much as possible. Right now, Team Flash really has to
Yawn's
focus
keeping
more,
busy.
but Yawn is just spinning for the win, and Flash has to go for the retreat.
Oh!
Go for the kill. JPL down for the count, and now it's Team Flash just gets routed away from the base of RSG.
Huge fight by either side. Yawn coming in clutch with the cables, the base defense from that Fanny. Huge plays. If he were to get stunned up by Ken, it would all be over. But now RSG has to deal with the top wave of the minions spawning in. Lord already spawned up, but hold on a second. Mid side though. Hades with the shadow followed Yawn all the way deep into enemy territory, almost taking him out, but saving himself alive. Now 5v5 down to Lord fight. Man, what's the play for RSG?
I think RSG, they just have to hunker down. I think Roy, once again, needs to try to find Curtisi, but if you notice how Curtisi is playing against the Valentina, he's keeping his hidden. Roy, unfortunately, can only take the Tsunami Slam, but what can you do as a Valentina on Tsunami Slam?
Speaking of which, closer just disintegrated, vaporized into thin air. Flash throws down Rick Carpet once again. They're going in straight for the back line. Vanix goes down, huge kill by CS. Hades with a shadow kill onto Yawn. CS is still left alive. Curtisi finding an angle though. As Curtisi, Hades targeting onto that Lord. He knows that Vanix is down. They need to wait for him to come back out. But man, what a kill by RSG, taking a Tsunami Slam and targeting onto Vanix.
Yeah, definitely. RSG is looking for a pick composition instead. That's what I was talking about, right? I think right now that's your only best way to start to pick key important targets one by one. Don't forget, that's a shutdown goal given over the side of RSG. So there's a little bit anything that could potentially close that gold lead gap. That's how they do it. That's how they have to claw back. But now you're gonna have to defend against this Lord. This Lord is gonna march down around the mid lane alongside with Vanix this time around. RSG, if you look at the roster, they don't really have a lot of wave clear unless you're telling me a base Fanny is a way to wave clear.
That is a pseudo high ground if you think about it.
Huh?
The base Fanny is really, really scary, but this is how Flash needs to end the game, right? You have to throw down all of your zone controls, their airstrike in a position to push everyone away from Vanix, make sure that Vanix is able to stay alive through the entirety of the skirmish. Lord marching down, red carpet laid out by Ken, still has that immortality, taking a lot of hits. Jay
finally
doesn't have that push, doesn't have that throw. Hades takes down Yon in the process. Lord already in vicinity of the base. Vanix goes crazy under the Daemon Force, targeting on the throw. That's it. We're going in to win. It's Flash. Man, it take the first game off of RSG in dominant fashion.
Yeah, really dominant. Dominant right there. Even I think like also it's like, yeah, we're done. We're done. Basically,
Even without the base actually popping in front of our eyes.
Like literally, because I personally feel like Flash executed it way better than expected, right?
Yep.
Can fit. It's like that missing jigsaw puzzle that fits in way better into this team composition. Now JPL was allowed to do a lot more things crazier than usually. Right now, he's been, for the first 2 weeks, he's been playing this game with one hand behind his back, and now he's finally allowed to play with two hands and let go of the weights. That's a Rock Lee reference right there.
I don't get it. Is this anime again?
Naruto, bro. Rock Lee, remember?
Oh, because he has weights on his legs, on his ankles, and once he removes it, then he's the best. He's the strongest ninja ever.
Yeah, he's the strongest taijutsu player.
He's the strongest. Yeah.
Yep.
But you know, hey, at the end of the day, Flash won one game, guaranteed 1 point. How does this change the score, and how does this change the stakes?
Nothing much. I think more importantly, we need to get a conclusion based on the overall score. Because to be honest, Churros, I'm not going to be able to count the chickens before they hatch.
Okay.
All right. Don't count the chickens before they hatch. Anything can potentially happen. Don't forget, Team Evil looking there to upset. RSG also looking there to upset. But of course, now we gotta have to answer the question. I really feel like now I start to see why Zays actually leaked out the Fanny. Banned away to Moscow, put themselves in a very awkward position because now Amox is unable to predict what Team Flash wants to go. They only went for the easy available target, which is in the form of Ken. I start banning away Ken's heroes, right? And now all of a sudden, all your game plan is out of whack. The Valentina should make sense in terms of going up against Kurt TZ, but Kurt TZ is keeping him in some scars. He's not allowing Valentina to take his ultimate using IMU.
Yeah. I think the fact that the Hylos was picked up just to counteract Yon, and whenever he flies in, gets stunned up by the Hylos, and just gets disintegrated, vaporized by Vanix. It was just so immaculate. I mean, Hades is definitely the in-game MVP, but I think the overall MVP definitely goes to Vanix. I think without him, the entire plan of Flash SG, honestly though, it's going to be hard to say because I say this now, but every one of the members of Flash SG has a very critical role to play.
They do. But I think it all started from the Vanix snowball, right?
Yeah.
It all started from the Vanix snowball. Allows Kurt TZ to deal the damage, and then after Vanix goes in for the kill because of the Zaman Force. And also particularly where Team Flash like to force these fights. If you notice how Ken is actually using his Glorious Pathway to basically cut the escape and also the advance on the side of RSG, and not only just that, they always choose a choke point to fight. That's where Closer's Wall may not be as good.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you cut off
You're splitting up the team fights. You're splitting up your own enemy away from your team. There's no way to get in. And Yon is basically being blocked by that wall. You can't find a right angle to go to the back line to take out at least Vanix. And to be honest though, Flash SG doesn't have a backline. The way that they play this around, Kurt TZ and Vanix are basically tag team with each other. And honestly though, every single one of members except Ken, who's always at the advancement, always at the front, is protecting all four members. So JPL being late behind to protect Curtisi and Vannix, provided that extra space, extra oomph, so that they can just do their thing.
So if you take a look at the stats earlier, look at the Vannix damage, man. 66k, but Hades, like what I mentioned, not too shabby either. Don't forget in terms of team fight participation as well, Hades is always there. And that's a marking of a strong assassin, right? Being there at the right time. Because we've seen jungle rotations before, not being able to join the fight or join the fight a little bit later than expected. Is that jungler instinct that Hades has is just something that is just significant over to this guy.
Man, it was just a dominant performance. And like I said, it's no use talking about this game anymore. Let's look towards the next. What is the next game, and what does RSG need to do? And I think that, man, don't play into the hands of Flash SG. They are master manipulators in the battlefield and off it. In the draft, it's a lot of times Flash SG, they are playing sort of like whatever they ban, they predict what RSG is picking up. That's why they're able to counteract so effectively.
Yep, of course. I think right now, it's like what you mentioned. Don't play into Team Flash. If Team Flash is able to dictate how you want to play it, how they want to play the game, you're never going to be able to play a game. Because the macro is so strong, you need to basically outsmart them. You need to cheese them a little bit. That's where, Roy, where's your Kadita, man? Roy, Kadita going up against Fursa looks really juicy, by the way. There's also a potential, like, I think the Valentina, it makes sense on paper, but in terms of execution, if you look at someone like Curtisi, he knows how to play against a Valentina. He'll pick like this kind of roster right into a Valentina. As long as I hide myself, don't reveal information, and that's another marking of Team Flash. They don't reveal information, whereas JPL is there being a spy in your enemy line, behind enemy lines.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the entirety of Team Flash's lineup, but who do you think is the MVP of this game? I would say Vannix, man.
Yeah,
like,
I think
without his snowball, I think the story
definitely
would have been rewritten differently.
Yeah, let's take a look at the MVP. Definitely going to give it over to. Oh my goodness! Look at the amount of gold. 13k gold. Total gold being earned. 9k DA. 913.
It was a 15-minute game.
It's a 15 minutes game, and after not only just that, like what we mentioned, the snowball that allowed his team to really shine, and then after that, it's just that's it.
Man. Enough said. Lord Vannix with the MVP, 9-1-3. Early game, got a Maniac, and then a triple kill to his name, and then snowball to infinity and beyond, and getting that dub over RSG.
Yep.
Man, it's back to the drawing board for RSG, especially
Definitely.
so
For
because
as well.
Tricky situation to be in on a one-game loss.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like a do if you don't.
Damn if you do.
Damn if you do. No, you're the old man that comes out with all this ad libs. I'm very bad. I'm very bad with this.
Yeah, there's no ad libs today.
There's not the ad libs. I mean, all the idioms.
All the idioms and phrases.
Yeah. I'm very bad at that, actually.
There you go.
Yeah,
damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
The abstract always says that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where I got it.
I thought it was Unga
got
Bunga.
It from him. Unga Bunga.
I thought it was an Unga Bunga thing.
Boom shakalaka.
Okay, anyways.
But
I feel like really, it's a very tough position if you are for the side of RSG, because RSG right now, it's like there's nothing much that you can really exactly do, because like from the side of RSG, right, we just need to be able to like execute, because I think it's all about execution right now. Even in terms of the tools, yes, it's right there, but it's just about in-game execution.
Yeah. Man, you trust him in-game, you trust him in a bar fight. What can you not trust him about